let me ask in the Slack chat. All right, so welcome everybody. This is Joe Wilson. I'm joined here by Matt HT, who played in a game very early this morning for us Americans, but Bastian being in Europe and MHT over in New Zealand, right?
Yeah.
Auckland.
Yes, it was last night for me.
Last night for you, like 3 a.m. I think for me, or 2 a.m. something like that. But we got your replay here ready to go, and I'm excited to see how this game went. This was game 1 of your top 16.
Yeah, so this is me playing light side and him playing dark side.
And he chose that, right? Because he was the pod A. Oh no,
Or
he
I
was a
chose
second
that.
seed, so you got to choose, right?
Yeah, I got the great luck of getting to play him as my second seed.
Right. You go 4-0, you win your pod, and they say, congratulations, here's Bastian. Obviously a very, very minor spoiler that will be given up as soon as we click OK, but what did you choose for light side?
So I chose no idea. So I figured, the decks I played in the pods and stuff were sort of quite old decks that were around 4 years ago. So I figured if I played something new, it might give them a little surprise.
Okay. So you had been playing old school decks. You didn't think he'd put you on no idea, which was more popular. That makes sense.
Yeah, and it's a good deck, so
yeah, sure.
There's no reason not to go with it.
What were those decks you had played last weekend?
So I played QMC, and then there's the other deck that I submitted but didn't play, which was Throne Room.
Okay.
So I know he knew that I could play either of those.
Okay. And all right, cool. Let's get into the game. It sounds like people in the chat are saying everything's working except my volume's a little low. So unfortunately, my volume is already at max on my input capacity. But my volume could only be low relative to yours being high. So what I'm doing is turning your input down a little so that we'll more closely match and they can just crank their volume. That's what I'm hoping will work.
All right, sounds good. And you can do that on your side?
Yes. Yeah, so they can give me more feedback if that's working or not. But it sounds like they can see both of us and see the screen and everything. So let's go ahead and start this game. Okay. Go. All right. So Bastian's Lorfic up on the top there. It looks like playing CCT. And you have, like you mentioned, no idea.
I don't seem to be able to see the game starting.
Okay. Let me see if so the screen share I have going on Discord is not working for you?
Yeah.
It looks like it should be. You can see, in your Discord window, do you see my face?
No, I don't see your face.
So
I've just got like 2 boxes sort of twirling around right now.
Okay. I'm wondering if my bandwidth does not like streaming a voice with you, video with you, screen share with you, and then to Twitch.
Should I just watch it on Twitch?
Yeah, we can see if that lag is too much. Let me try one more time to share. Let me turn off this camera. Let me share this screen. We'll try one more time, and then if that doesn't work, you can try and watch it on Twitch. That button. All right. Can you click over to the where it shows those little spinning boxes? Is there now an option to click to one of them?
Yes, I've got one thing that's got like your sort of red.
Yeah, that I just turned off my camera because you don't need to see my face.
Yeah, and then the other's got the red the boxes.
Oh, okay, the boxes, that should be the screen share, so I don't know why that's...
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, well, I'll go ahead and go over to Twitch then, and let's see if the lag is too bad there. Okay, Hayes and Dan, it sounds like are going to try and help us out. They say he should see an option to view my screen in Discord. Invite me and I can send a screenshot. And then Dan says, or me. So a bunch of people want to know. Help us out. Let's see. Hayes. All right, if I start a call with Hayes, is that gonna end the call with Matt? Can you have two calls at once on Discord?
You can definitely have, well, you should have invited me to the one you're already in, but it's fine.
Okay. Okay, then you invite MHT to this one.
I don't have his Discord info.
All right. If I
Check Slack.
All right. Are we all in this now, or did I just hang up on Hayes?
I don't see Hayes.
I don't know how to add him to an ongoing call. Where is like here? Oh, there. Add. Select friends. Oh, Hayes didn't add me as a friend yet. I sent him a request. He'll hear this in 10 seconds, and then. So they think Hayes thinks he knows the solution to sharing my screen with you. He says check Slack. Oh. Yeah, Hayes, I know your Discord tag. I want go to your invitations, your friend invitations. I sent you one a few minutes ago. There we go.
All right, I think the three of us are together. So, are you sharing your screen? You are. Not yet.
Not yet, but I will.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. For some reason, it says it's not detecting any input from my mic.
Good. Here, I'll send you a screenshot in Slack. Yes.
So I've got the boxes going again. It's loading.
Yeah, see, I'm just wondering if my upload bandwidth is not enough to do all those different things at once. Because I think you're looking at the right box of where you would have to click to see my shared screen. It's just mine.
Yeah.
Discord's not sending it out. As long as it's on Twitch, people can see the game.
Yeah, I don't know how delayed are we.
Dan also has a good idea. Remove my webcam on OBS and just have it on Discord. So show myself on Discord.
Oh, I can see it. Oh, maybe it loaded for a second, and then I can see it for a second. The screen share.
Okay.
Okay, I'm seeing your screen.
Okay, it's working. I'm done.
Cool. Thanks, Hayes.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Hayes. Oh, but now it's loading again. I think it must be a bandwidth issue.
Yeah, it has a little exclamation mark. It says it's doing reduced video or audio.
Yeah, my guess is as soon as things change too much, like it's probably like compressing it, and as soon as things change too much, it might have to reload again.
All right. Well, you can go on Twitch, or you can or you can stay on here for a little bit and see if it kicks in, and I can just, tell you where we're at in the game as I commentate it.
Let's try going from Twitch
and chime in. All right, so we're on turn 0 here. Bastian's flipped over CCT, and what you were saying earlier is that you picked No Idea because you didn't think he'd put you on it, and that does seem to be the case with this matchup. I don't think if you were going to be facing No Idea, you would pick CCT. And I think...
So I guess the thing is, at this point, I don't know which CCT is playing yet, right?
Yeah. I do know Bastian early on in the OCS this year, February or March or so, he was playing CCT for a while. And I remember Paul McPherson, there was a thread talking about how strong No Idea is. I don't remember if it's the current one still up on the CBT forums or not, but Paul McPherson went on and he was like, hey, if a scrub like me can go 11-1 in the OCS on the back of No Idea, including beating Bastian, and specifically beating Bastian CCT with his No Idea, then maybe it's a little too strong. So... So I do know that Paul beat Bastian in the same matchup earlier, and so I don't think this is what you choose. I think you probably made a good meta call on what Bastian thought you had. All right,
which is, the sort of silly match play thing, right? We have to make these guesses, and sometimes they turn out right, sometimes they turn out wrong.
Right, absolutely. So his starting effects are KDY, I'm sure just for activation, Mustafar stuff. I Am Your Father and Wipe. And it's interesting here that he's doing 3 effect, because usually in the past at least we've seen 12 card CCT popular a lot and run a couple IGs and trying to get him out early, or lately we've seen a lot of Any Methods Necessary into Boba and his gun and move over to the audience chamber and flip, and it looks like Bastian isn't doing either of those. It seems to be a more mains focused. Anything starting I Am Your Father immediately indicates sort of dark side mains.
Yeah, so sort of thinking, he's going to have Beta or Saber, he's going to have the standard sort of set of like EPPs, Dr. Evazan, the sort of standard set of just plain good characters is probably what I'm expecting at this point.
So obviously you know how the flow of this game goes, but if you pretend you don't for a second, given...
Oh, so another interesting thing is, so if you look at the first shield he pulled, right?
Yeah.
So it's the immediate effects are free shield. So in my QMC, I've had like 5 rebel barriers, 4 rebel leaderships, and 5 rescue in the cloud.
Uh-huh.
So he pretty clearly saw that, and I'm expecting a couple immediate effect grabbers out of him at this point.
I still have the...
Like the...
Hang on one sec. The webcam window, I never switched back to... do you have your camera on? You don't. Do you want to turn your camera on?
My camera should be on. Is it not? Yeah, I think my camera's on.
There we go. It's just capturing the wrong Discord window. It's capturing the main one instead of... All right. There we go. So, so you were saying you played a ton of barriers, rescue, a bunch of used interrupts.
Yeah.
And him pulling oppressive kind of indicates he's playing Hell to Pay or other grabbers.
Yeah.
You're not expecting sense in no idea.
Yeah. Well, and especially like, yeah, it would be weird to pull that otherwise. So, especially as the first action, right?
Right. It's interesting. I wonder what used interrupts he might have expected here. Maybe just, again, 3 or 4 barriers and 3 or 4 rescues and things like that, and he just wants to make it a damage producing card.
Yeah, I mean, barrier is a good card, no idea, right?
Absolutely. So if here you're thinking dark side mains, and like I was saying, you know the flow of this game, but if you didn't, and he's going to have Vader and EPP Mauls and Evazon and stuff, I'd imagine your goal would be to flip pretty quickly to get that backside defense boost and ability to cancel, right?
Yeah, like basically you don't want to be fighting without flipping.
Okay. So he's going to do his standard pull stuff from reserve, audience chamber, and Mustafar and castle, I'm assuming, unless he activated it, which he didn't.
Yeah.
All right, so your opening hand, you've got a ship, 5 guys, Hujix Puller, and evac control. That seems pretty solid.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with that.
Right.
I mean, the guys are small guys, which is sometimes good, sometimes bad. But having a Battle Destiny adder is good for fighting.
Yeah, Hera. And then having that Luke to start ping retrieving early is nice. A ship, which means when you pull one, you've got like you could pull Bright Hope and throw that Tantive with it. And then evac just for if he's, has I Have You Now, or if he's got Emperor and Shuttle or things like that. Evac's a great card to have against.
Yeah, and so I think right now, he's got 12 cards in hand. He's got some pretty good activation. So I'm not really ready to go to the 1/1 fight.
Mm-hmm.
But I have sort of exactly what you'd want to go into space. And if you look right, so I don't have the 2/1 fight in my reserve deck.
Okay.
So I can't really go to the ground this turn.
Right. Yeah.
I want to use some force, so I feel like it made sense to pull Bright Hope, Tantive, Luke, right? Get a little bit of drains going. And then that also means that when I go to the ground, I can flip immediately. So I don't know.
Right.
Like
if he goes to the vault, you can just play the beach and go there and flip. That makes sense. So you go ahead and play Luke and Bright Hope and Tantive and assume with evac, he can't do a whole lot against that.
Yeah, so worst case, probably I lose Luke.
Mm-hmm. All right, so he uses the castle to pull out Vader and I'm Your Father to get the saber and Emperor over to the vault, and he'll relocate Vader. The vault, of course, I might be saying some stuff that's obvious to you, Matt, but for anyone watching, the vault cancels immunity to attrition there. So if he had just moved Vader by himself, then any couple of scrubs there could have just cleared Vader. So Emperor gives the extra forfeit, the extra icon, and
it also means that the Emperor can't use Force Lightning.
That's true.
Which is good when I'm playing a bunch of little tiny guys.
Yeah, that's nice. He loses I Have You Now from hand, which indicates he's, probably won't be going to space. Because if he was going to space, he might want that against Luke. Or it indicates he doesn't have any faith he can burn through evac control. He doesn't have enough adders, so he decides, this is going to be useless.
Yeah, or he just, he needs a Dark Jedi, right, to go to space, and he might not want to spend that plus burn through evac.
Or something. Yeah.
So that's sort of a lot of things to have to do, I guess.
Yeah. So you get Melshi and upload Taidu, who's going to protect you from Never Yarnell, just in case he's running Erica and that. And also they both, Melshi uploading a guide, Taidu letting you draw a card is extra efficiency, because you pay one for him, you draw a card for him. It's basically free.
Yeah, especially because I have a small hand right now, and I'm playing a bunch of guys. It's nice to get a few more cards in hand.
Sure, yep. So down comes Saw and Jaren Webb, and I imagine at this point you'll pull Battle Plan. So an Emperor, since he can't move to the beach because of his text, he's going to kind of be stuck there at the vault, even if Vader wanted to go out and challenge you.
Yeah, and then I'm sort of thinking that Vader's somewhat stuck there too, because he doesn't necessarily want to leave the Emperor alone.
Now let me ask you this sort of strategic question here about your second turn. You into the turn with only 5 cards in your hand, but you save 3 force. Was that to bluff a reacting guy? Was that, I mean, you don't have a barrier in hand, so I'm sure people who are watching this are wondering, if they were sitting opposite you and they see you save 3 force, they're worried about what you have. Is that solely why you saved that, even when your hand is so small?
Yeah, so that's representing it's a trap, I guess, is the big thing, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And the way I think it, so I already have, 3 guys in my hand, so I don't necessarily need to draw more cards right now. Right, I have some use for my force next turn. I can add a couple guys. If he attacks, I've got a couple guys who, when they die, draw me a card.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sort of just thinking I didn't necessarily need more cards in my hand right now versus the bluff that I have some kind of evasion.
Yeah, that makes sense. You can.
I mean, if you think about it, so if he didn't attack me this turn, what would I want to do next turn? Probably just play a couple guys and draw anyway.
Right.
So I might, there's no reason to draw this turn versus draw next turn. The force is there.
Sure. Whatever guys you might draw in those 3 wouldn't be that different necessarily from the guys in your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as you said, Taidu and Melshi both drawing when they're played and when they die means you've got some extra card draw there. So that's nice. He then comes down with Dr. Ian Dengar. The problem for him, of course, is now you are flipped and you've got that +2 defense value. So everyone's a 4 or 5.
But I don't have that guy in lock pile yet. So
yeah, you can't cancel.
I can't cancel the first shot, but then if he operates, then I can cancel the second one.
Yes. Of course, you do have an Odin in hand, which also will stop and operate.
Yeah. And now here I'm thinking that this is probably the 3 worst guys you could play for me.
Right. You've got the guy who swings twice, the guy who shoots twice, and then the guy who operates. Yeah, that's a good. It's pretty much as good a hand as you could ask for right there against you. Other than, I imagine he probably plays some Twixes that he hasn't gotten yet, maybe some accelerates for bridge or something. So, but in terms of characters, that's his ideal there.
Yeah, so he's got 4 shots, right? So he can. So I'm hoping maybe he misses at least one. Mm-hmm. He's probably going to operate the first one.
Yeah, well, he's going to try and operate all of them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So he hits the first guy. Is there a consideration here to let him operate one so you have a cancel with your objective? I mean, you're going to have to let it at least one through.
Yeah, so I was thinking Saw is the guy that I really want to keep around. Because then if I draw like a 4, then the +3 attrition means he has to lose them all. If I draw 5, he actually has to lose 2 guys.
Yeah.
Plus, he might have some kind of interrupt that's good, like I think he has 2 force up for you are beaten.
Right. Yeah. So the sort of Taidu does only pull when draw bottom of used pile. You had no used pile, so didn't draw. Wanted to mention.
Yeah, so I think I realized here what I should have done is used a force to play escape pod.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could have drawn that 1 force that I used.
Yeah. Yeah. So you want to try and keep Saw. And like you said, you were beaten Israel. The other concern, one other reason why you might have wanted to play escape pod, maybe even before, well, I don't know, maybe so you would have thrown an extra Bodhi for an extra force or something, is see if he senses it. Because Hujix is immune, but the puller isn't. So if in your deploy phase last turn, if it was in reserve deck, and I don't know that it was, but testing to see if you actually get the pull on it, because a dark mains like this might play sense, and it would be pretty bad right here if you're left with a single hit dude.
So definitely I should have played it before, and I think I don't even play it. I forgot if I play it now. I think I play it now.
All right, so he's cleared one guy. He missed a second shot, so both of his Dengar's shots are gone. And he draws a Dooku and has a Sith Fury for him. Now, interestingly, if you do have to abandon, and then he draws a 5 for the second one, and here I imagine you'll use a cancel. Oh no, because
so this is against Saw.
5 was first after the levitation. Yeah. So then you cancel the 7, and 5 is not greater than his 5 defense value. All right. Since he has so many battlegrounds on table, the Carbonite Chamber and the Audience Chamber, it's also a totally viable strategy to just abandon Scarif and go Guy to both of those and his Carbonite Security Tower and his Mustafar location and just go wide and have all his guys kind of sort of locked up on Scarif, short of an Ellis. But you have Insurrection, so we need Alana. All right, so he does hit his next shot, which you go ahead and Odin Nestler to save his forfeit.
So Odin is just such a good card here. And there's the grabber.
Yeah. So go ahead and play the escape pod, just in case he has you were beaten or something and he's going to get through a few force. All right, no sense.
I'm just about to draw Destiny, right? Might as well not draw 1.
Yeah. All right, so he draws a 4. If you draw, it's a trap.
So I guess it's like a 3 is not a great draw for me here. I'd rather have a 4 or a 5, but I mean the deck is low. You can't always get what you want.
Well, a 4 still. I mean, either way, he lost Maul. So whatever
he lost Maul, yeah.
Whatever you drew,
I guess a 5 would have been great.
He was losing Maul.
Not a huge number of 5s.
Well, but even a 5. Because Saw is adding 3 to his attrition. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your 3 gave you 6 attrition. So
I think here he has an interesting choice because he can't really leave those 2 guys by themselves.
Right.
So he has to either move them over to the Emperor or move Vader over, right? Because the Emperor can't move.
Correct.
So he ends up deciding to leave the Emperor by himself.
Which makes sense. The beach, I mean, if he runs away, the beach is a drain 2, and then what's he doing? He's going to be paying to drain and be out damaged, and he's got to fight you. I mean, that's all Dark Mains can really do is be aggressive and hope to get some sort of edge or beat down.
And he's going to have to leave the Emperor there at some point because I would just be perfectly happy staying at the beach if he didn't move over.
Right. So you play Saw to play to move a dude over so you can attack the Emperor. I'm assuming you'll play Leia to add a Power Destiny and Hera to add a Battle Destiny and things like that. It does.
Yeah, so I figured. I mean, I'm going to want to stack there anyway. So I might as well force him to use a Gick or get some overflow.
Yeah, and it gives you 2 Sawdust ping damage.
Yeah.
It does mean you can't retrieve that Saw because Luke is sitting there and would have been able to retrieve him.
Yeah.
So it's a trade-off.
So I think I counted my force and sort of thought that I probably wouldn't want to use that 1 extra force.
Okay. Because there is also a Where's Han on evac, which if you retrieve... if you don't retrieve Saw, you could swap a card for him using that, but... Yeah.
Is he one of the guys that I can get? Oh, is he a resistance agent?
He's a resistance agent because of 10 men. So yeah, you can use Where's Han to swap for him.
I didn't know that. That's a useful thing to know. Read your cards.
Yeah. Lots of little text, especially when you, like you said, you have been playing more old school decks. All right, so it's looking like the beatdown's going to come for the Emperor, and he can't use Force Lightning, so he's forfeiting 9 and 4 powers. He covers 13 in Destiny, and you're already 13 in essentially 3 Destiny because Leia's Power Destiny.
Yeah.
So, of course, No Idea's Destiny is pretty bad, but usually so is Dark Mains.
And you got the -1 from John Webb, and you got the redraw from Hera.
Good point. He's with the leader. Subtraction from their total. Of course, you draw a spy, but there's nothing to retrieve there with 10 men. All right. Yeah, it's amazing how fast the damage can pile up. Because I mean, you had 1 card and lost, now 0, and he's already got 6 just due to that Stardust and the system drain a couple times, and yeah, so his total destiny is 2 to your 7. So he's gonna have to lose Emperor and 8 if he doesn't have the Gick. Bodhi lets someone make a regular move, which isn't really any different than moving him in the move phase, I guess, but is kind of just fun to do.
It's fun to use them.
Yeah. And it looks like Bastian had to peel 8 there. So let me pause and look at the chat, because Jimp Replays does that fun thing where they just go blip and put them all in lost at once. So it looks like a second Hell to Pay from hand, a Krennic from hand, which is interesting because, I mean, you'll obviously be playing Jin in this deck, but he probably knows his path to win is not a Drain Race. Alana Dobreed from hand, another Emperor, a Mithron from reserve, Force Field from reserve, Sith Fury from reserve, and Grand Moff Tarkin from used. And of course he knew that Grand Moff Tarkin was in there from drawing it for Battle Destiny, so must have decided he didn't want to wait to get that around and get that back into hand and have it be that useful.
Yeah.
And then there's Jin, first card you draw. Keep your eyes open will be useful. Oh, so if you had drawn some of those 3, I mean, I guess he could have had a point man. We know he didn't have sense, but if you had drawn some of those 3, would have had to keep your eyes open for that battle.
Yeah, but I think I only had 1 keep your eyes open and 1 instant trap in the deck. So the chances that those were the cards is less.
Right. Well, and it's a trap wouldn't even help to draw because then you wouldn't have 3. So.
And I'm pretty happy to see the keep your eyes open here because I know he's going to move in front of me.
Yeah, and you can't move away now that you're holding Stardust. All right, so you top deck 5/5/5. Screaming Lando, Antilles Maneuver, and Don't Tread. Why is Don't Tread on me in there? Just to grab the evac control?
So there's like evac control, menace fades.
Okay.
You got if you start the anti-scum effect, then you can pull other stuff.
Oh, guts, sure, yep. Okay.
I've seen a lot of lists play like 2 evac control, which I never like playing the second evac control because then you're putting, 8 cards on the table total.
A lot of life force, yeah. All right, and then looking, it looks like you were prepared for some sort of occupation deck with free ride there. All right, so he
played Watto on the first day.
Oh, yeah.
Tattoo and Occupation.
Watto does occupy now. So it looks like he had another Grand Moff Tarkin in hand. That's why he ditched the one from used. Plays Vader and plays Dooku to the beach and moves over Vader, Dr. E, and Dengar. Interestingly, he saw you top deck Antilles Maneuver, so he's probably hoping that's the only one because he saved no force. And that's just as good as keep your eyes open in that case.
And it's probably the sort of thing where at that point in the game,
you got to do something.
You got to take risks like that.
Huh. That's interesting. You peeked at his hand and saw Force Lightning, which, okay, we knew he pulled out with Emperor, but why did he not lose that? I mean, I guess Dooku can use it, but that's just going to get canceled with your objective text. So that seems like a
Does the objective text cancel Force Lightning? I thought it was just chokes.
It's any Destiny targeting their ability or defense value. So, I mean,
you could do it outside of battle, right? Or
yeah, it's just.
I guess if I use it on one thing, he can use it.
Sure, yeah, but it's a lost interrupt to make you burn that, and I don't know. Yeah,
I guess it's also just an easy cyclable 5, right?
Well, not with the Emperor dead. So what I'm talking about is when he's peeling 8 after losing Emperor. I mean, I guess Count Dooku could use it used, but then you can't pull it again. All right, so you're gonna do your normal Stardust ping and drain 1 at the system, and probably retrieve 1 with Luke.
Yeah. So at this point, right, we talked earlier about how there's all these other battlegrounds and things on the table. Mm-hmm. Right, he's got a whole bunch of his guys there, and he's got 3 cards in hand at this point. I know the battle at the 1/1 is going to go pretty decently, but I guess I feel like there's sort of no reason for me to take the initiative there,
Sure.
right? Like if I spread out to other places, then I force him to deal with my stuff.
Right. Right. The only way the battle at the vault goes bad is if he has a point man for your keep your eyes open. But you still have a Hujix, worst case scenario.
Yeah.
But if he does point man and
So what I really want to do is sort of set myself up in case the battle goes bad. I want to have something else going on.
Yeah, right. Now if he goes all in on that, well, and he only has 3 in hand, as you say. If he has the point man and you are beaten and he gets all down to 1 scrub and he forces you to burn that Hujix, you're still doing 5 or 6, 7 damage.
Yeah.
And then you ray pull into It's a Trap. Now he's going to need both. And It's a Trap canceler like Vader's Anger, or point man, because first he has to get through the It's a Trap and then he has to get through the Keep Your Eyes Open. So.
Yeah, and he has to do that all with really 2 cards in hand because one is a Force Lightning.
Yeah. So he drains. You peel a couple guys off top.
So I guess the other thing that's been happening in this game is because he activates 2 during my turn, he tends to drop all his cards during his draw phase, which means that I can keep the Rescue in the Clouds to play as soon as he has 0 force for a second.
Right.
So he can't grab it.
Right. Wipe in the Carbonite Chamber, giving him activation on your turn so he doesn't save. Yeah.
So I think I managed to play Rescue in the Clouds 2 or 3 times this game without him grabbing it.
So he battles at the vault. And you just keep your eyes open instead of It's a Trap. Which is interesting. Tarkin adds a Destiny, and you add an Attrition Destiny, and you've got a heading for the medical in your hand.
Yes, I think I was figuring I could clear at least 2 guys.
Sure, yeah, with 2 Destiny and Attrition and heading, you clear out.
Yeah. Which means I either get rid of some of the weapons or get rid of Dr. E.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you retrieve that. Keep your eyes open.
So here, for some reason, I sort of like the heading for the medical frigate lights up, and I didn't want to play it because I wanted to redraw, but I clicked pass instead of redrawing.
Whoops.
So I should have been redrawing that too.
Yeah.
So just sort of thinking like, oh, I'll pass the heading to the medical frigate and then I'll redraw.
Right.
Which is not how it works.
All right. Well, you still get 12 attrition. Yeah, it would have been nice to get a little more, but that'll kill Tarkin and Dr. E. And then Melshi will pull a trooper into hand, the Beat Squad troopers.
Then this also lets me get rid of Stardust,
in case
which
you
gives
wanna...
me some flexibility if I want to move away.
Right. Ooh, so he relocates Vader in front of Ezra so that she can't do damage. Of course, that just sticks him in a non-battleground, and you'll be able to move over and shuttle up.
Yeah. Right, and then I can shuttle back down in the control phase with the objective if he moves away again.
Right.
So you'd sort of have to keep Vader there the rest of the game to stop me from draining.
Movement outside the move phase is crazy. I mean, there's a reason why Black Sun Fleet was so good for so long until sort of General Leia has put that on the back burner. But just when you can move around.
Yeah, I mean, the whole game is sort of based around the fact that, the move phase happens after everything else.
Right. And
so
that's why
to be able to rearrange that.
There's just something like the Cantina Shuffle is just so strong. Whole decks can be built around it. So yeah, it's definitely cool little aspect, especially against something like Black Sun, where you're over at their Imperial Square that's a drain 3, and so they block it, and then you just move over to the 1-0, which is a drain 2, and drain them anyway. And yeah, it's tricky.
It's pretty strong in certain situations.
So he does not battle on Cloud City, and he runs away Dengar. so that you will drain 1/1 and ping for 2 on your turn. And like you mentioned, you get that free rescue. You snag the Hanshui Falcon. And Ray into
so I think here, right, because I'm about to split the ships, it makes sense to have another ship in case. He doesn't have that much force left. I think he's already lost 1 Marin ship, but just in case he has something else, nice to have a backup ship at this point.
Yeah. So looking at this board state and your hand, I like to not battle, not take any risks. So what I would be doing is just being like, maybe play Hanshui Falcon, otherwise just move Bright Hope over, shuttle up Ezra, play Corrin to the audience chamber, move Ray away, because it's not like he's going to pay 3 to drain 1 with Newt, so move Ray into the Carbonite chamber, or play Kraken and move him in and leave Ray, or maybe even beat down Newt. You have the commando team, you got Kraken, who won't add a Destiny,
so Kraken's not so good here yet, because Ray's already there, but the commando team's 8 power for 5 deployed.
Yeah. So you got a couple different
and I sort of already know that he probably maybe doesn't have a gift. Right, he's only drawn a few cards since then.
Right, and you wouldn't be saving that because you're assuming you can't play around needing a Gick at this point. Like he has to go more risky. I should have.
Yeah, so those are basically the options, right? So I can either move Ray over and drop a guy to the audience chamber, or I can drop a few guys in fight to try to get some overflow.
Apparently Ezra is a he, and I need to point my face into my microphone more often or reposition it. I just realized I hadn't been looking at the chat. Okay, yeah. So you do the drains and damage and go for the beatdown on Newt. Throw Kraken down just for a little extra protection at the vault.
Yeah, because he still has 5 cards in hand, right? He could have 2 guys. The other option, right, I could have just put Kraken to the audience chamber.
So at this point, Evac didn't do anything that battle. You just wanted the used interrupt to up your differential?
Yeah.
Because he's now at 12 cards and basically could drop at any time. You've got 6 in hand, so even if he pays 3 to drain 2, it's going to take him 3 turns to do that. You're going to do enough damage by then.
With Luke every time.
You're retrieving with Luke every turn, so right, and at some point you'll pop Walkling, obviously, but any battles you might randomly draw a spy and retrieve from that, and so at this point Bastian's got to be thinking like, how much damage can I really get through versus how many cards is he just going to retrieve before I do that, because he's going to have to burn through your whole hand of damage first.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, I don't want to be drawing any more cards at this point because the stuff I have in hand is probably good enough.
Yeah, you've got a lot of protection with It's a Trap and Hujix. You got a couple more characters, a ship, and then just grab that used interrupt to cycle.
No. Can you read I don't remember how many I have in Life Force at this point.
He's got 13.
And I have 24? Or
22. 22. Yeah. All right. So he loses Newt and 4, it looks like. An Enforcer, a Cold Feet, a Min, and a Grand Moff Tarkin. I think that was a 3rd Grand Moff Tarkin.
Yeah, that would have been, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of odd.
All right, so you recirculate. Gonna have a revert so that he can prevent destinies from being canceled, which is just cycling a 5, which you grab.
That's probably a card he's been holding for a while.
Yeah, so now he cycles another 5 with the used Force Lightning, but that leaves him with 1 card in hand. Pays to drain, which top deck 1 and put Han Chui from hand.
So I probably shouldn't have top decked at that point. Probably could have lost either Corrin or Jin.
So he plays P59, and you It's a Trap, essentially saving you 1 force. Instead of getting shot and losing 2, you lose the 1. It's a trap. And he moves Vader into the audience chamber, which basically indicates he's going to try and just pay 6 to drain for 4 and see if he can get you down in differential. Plays fanfare to check his reserve. But you're doing 1, 1, 1, so 3 to drains, 2 to Stardust. You're doing 5 and retrieving 1 with Luke. And it looks like you're going to move a spy. Shuttle down.
This is the Ezra thing that we talked about.
Yeah, shuttle down Ezra. So that'll put your damage this turn up to 7. 2 Stardust and 5 drains. And he only had about 13 total, so he might just have enough to drain, which will pretty much just clear out your hand, maybe get 1 from Life Force.
So at this point, I should have been probably tracking like some characters around to try to get more retrieval from that.
So you go ahead and deploy Corrin at the beach. Block that drain. Oh, but actually battle. Corrin is power 6 because he is against a bounty hunter, makes him 5, and the beach gives him a +1. And you pop Walkling. Just sort of hoping to draw a spy here for an extra 1 retrieval. It looks like you may have frozen. Did you freeze? Alright, it might just be me unless Discord kicks back in. So it's looking like that's what's why he throws out down Corrin, is he's like, might as well see if I can draw spy and retrieve 1. I can always Hujix the battle. I can grab that extra card off of evac to lose to a drain. It'll help my differential. So it's a little interesting to me he didn't go ahead and throw Corrin in front of Vader and just move everyone over out to the beach, because then that would block both drains. If Corrin has the cancel for Vader's swing with the objective, and he can always Hujix in a worst case scenario, but he does go ahead and move Rey. Bastian does not have enough force to pay for drains at more than 1 location. And I imagine he won't. I mean, he could pay 3 to drain for 2, but both of them would come from hand, and then Matt would just retrieve 1 of them with Luke, so he'd actually win by 1 more force. So there's no reason here to pay to drain. I'm sure Bastian will just go to his draw phase and just draw up those last few.
Can you hear me?
Yes, there, you're back.
All right, yeah.
Cool. We were just getting to Bastian's final draw phase. He could have paid to drain, but you had 2 in hand, and then you would have just Luke Skywalkered 1 back, so he draws up.
Yeah, so I think he should have Force Lightning the guy. I mean, probably both made small mistakes on that turn that didn't matter that much.
Force Lightning Corrin lost?
Yeah, just to stop me from drawing Destiny.
Yeah, you didn't draw a spy anyway, but just in case you did, to save 1 differential. Yeah. I think Darkside mains is pretty out of the meta solely due to this deck. I think No Idea, just sort of the backside stomping all over the weapons, and then almost everyone being spies, ability to just go really wide to all those Twixes that Dark Mains needs for activating.
Well, especially here, it's not even Twixes, right? It's these battleground sets that I can drain for 2.
Right, that's even better for you, but and Black Sun's the same way. But yeah, if they do throw out any like the castle, that security tower, it makes it's Hunt Down has the same problem where It's really, no idea is just a really hard matchup for any sort of dark main stack.
Yeah, I mean, you just end up having like a stack against a stack, and the light side stack ends up being better, it seems.
Yeah, and that kind of seems the case too with light mains versus dark mains. You know, the stack of Ray and Solo and Hera and all them seem better than the stack of Vader and company.
Well, then even if they're not better in a particular game, then there's always things like R2 that, right, the light side just has more flexibility.
Yep, definitely. So cool. Looks like you won by 24. Though you guys submitted both of your lists for match play before this game happened, right?
Yeah, so we've already decided what we're playing for the other side.
Yeah, so that's more like real life, where you would already have that submitted. I know sometimes there's online events where people will play one side of it, and then Bastian in this case would be like, oh, I need to win by a lot, so let me put an on the edge in my deck or something like that. But that's not going to be the case in your second game.
And then I could say, I could just play like a space deck or something that'll drain a bunch but lose.
Right. So we won't see
and never interact.
Yeah, we won't see any changes based on this game one win. But other than changes to how each of you might approach the individual game itself.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for sharing that. Do you have any final thoughts on either this game or Star Wars, Texas Mini Worlds, anything like that?
I don't know. It's been fun to play a few games back, I guess. The lockdown to thank for that.
It looks like whenever you came back, your face stopped appearing, but that's all right. I think it sounds like everyone could hear you. So cool. Thanks for sharing. Good luck in game 2 against Bastian. And